Okay, today we will be viewing three of my piston engine cars in ScrapMechanic. All of these use thrusters. I have made some that use the actual piston blocks, but I prefer not to use those. So the first one here is a 4-cylinder engine, around about 60 parts, 60 parts or so. It has no reverse geared feature. Its reverse is just really just spinning the engine backwards. It has a 2-to-1 reduction and a simple split to go to the other two wheels. 1 and 2. 1 is like the first speed, like the idle. 2 is all of the thrusters. 3 changes the timing so that it can go to a higher RPM. And 5 engages the clutch, and 4 is the reverse for the engine. So typically this is how you really go about driving it. Usually you'd turn on the extra thrust and engage the clutch at the same time to not stall the engine and also not let it overspeed. And if you want to make it go faster, again, just use the number 3. Now to reverse, stop the engine and then turn it on while you use number 4 to put it in reverse. And then again, 2 and number 5 at the same time to not stall it while in reverse. Now, if you do use number 3, which would be the higher speed, it only slows the engine down further. The optimum position is really about the 90 degrees from the up and down to the left of that timing wheel. If I were to turn off number 4 and turn on number 3, I could get it to go into a higher speed backwards. I will show that here. And again, to put it into forwards. So that was the first one. Now it's time for the other two. Now when the update came along, many other things that I had made ceased to function properly, but I took advantage of the newer blocks to revisit another design. I had another version of this where the flywheel was made with the regular metal blocks, and I was using just the duct blocks and other such. But I used the what is this, reinforced? Yeah, the third concrete block, which is the heaviest block that I've found so far for a good flywheel, and extending the piston head and using bubble wrap, again an extremely lightweight block. This does have a reverse system, a clutch and a reverse together, and a 1-to-3 reduction. Again, 1 is the idle speed, and number 2 is the all the thrusters running. On this one, number 6 engages a turbine boost for the engine. Number 5 engages the transmission, and number 4 would be the reverse if number 5 is on. Number 4 kind of just like switches the mode, and number 5 is just whether the whole clutch system is on or not. This one, to change the speed, it is using a timing system controlled on the W and S keys. And by moving it, I can go to a higher speed, and by changing the area of, well, the amount of surface in front of the sensors, I can change for what duration the pistons are firing. This can give me the optimum torque across different RPM ranges and just optimum firing. Again, number 6 is the turbine boost. Both of these work together to make it go quite fast. And it has a fair amount of torque if you wish to go up like hills or such. You can use the large barrel blocks, and you can go up, I think, even 60-degree inclines without the turbine. I will not be posting this onto the Steam Workshop. I wish to see what other people make. I may post this eventually, but for now, this is purely to remain here. You can see, well, this is really about the highest torque that I can put on the reduction before it begins to slip. You could distribute it across multiple gear sets so that it could handle more torque, or you could just scale them up. It can move on the idle speed, but just barely. Yeah. And then I had taken that design and completely redone it in a new engine made with the lightest blocks I could really find, including toilet plungers and bubble wrap. The flywheel was hard to get right. You don't want it so heavy that the engine can't move it at all, but you also need it heavy enough so that it can carry the momentum over. Now, the whole goal with this engine was that it would have enough torque so that I could directly connect it to the wheels without any reduction needed. And this did work. And it is fairly fast. It's about as fast as the other ones. I think if I had a 2 to 3 reduction, I could make this perform even better. And again, very similar controls. Only this time it is using the more classical methods of controlling the engine. There is no reverse on this, unfortunately. It's just like the others. Again, 2 is all the pistons working. I could add another set of thrusters beneath those so that it could provide force on the upstroke. We might get stuck here. But again, 4 on this one. Number 4 is the turbine. It's a bit slow to speed up, but again, taking it to its higher operating speed, it can go quite quickly. And letting it just go to its high RPM, it is quite fast. The pistons make up most of its torque. It's more like the disc is, well, the flywheel turbine is 1/3 of its torque, and the pistons are the other 2/3. But they work together to provide a nice amount of force. I may revisit this engine, see what I can improve on, maybe give it a better throttle control system, and give it a 2 to 3 reduction. But yeah, that'll be it.